From Jack Nicklaus to Rory McIlroy, golf's most iconic rivalries. Golf is a gentleman's game, until rivalries turn the green into a battlefield. From the icy stare between Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson, to the generational clash of Tiger Woods versus Phil Mickelson, and the rising heat with Rory McIlroy facing off against golf's boldest young stars. These aren't just games. They're wars fought with irons and nerves of steel. Today, we tee off into the greatest rivalries that defined golf, elevated legends, and changed the sport forever. The King versus the Bear, Arnold Palmer versus Jack Nicklaus. It began in the 1962 U.S. Open. Jack Nicklaus, 22, with a husky build and cold efficiency, faced off against the crowd favorite Arnold Palmer, charming, spontaneous, and golf's first TV superstar. In a playoff that would change everything, Nicklaus defeated Palmer on Palmer's turf, Oakwood Country Club. It wasn't just a changing of the guard, it was a clash of philosophies. Palmer was flair, Nicklaus was forced. Palmer captivated with charisma. Nicklaus won with calculation. Fans loved Palmer, but Nicklaus earned their grudging respect. Over time, that respect blossomed into friendship. But in their prime, every major had an undercurrent. Would it be the King or the Bear? Jack Nicklaus versus Tom Watson. A battle of grace and greatness. Jack Nicklaus, known as the Golden Bear, was already a towering figure in golf when a young, steely-eyed Tom Watson emerged on the scene. At first, Nicklaus seemed almost unbeatable, but Watson wasn't afraid of the legacy. He aimed to rewrite it. Their rivalry peaked in the 1977 Open Championship at Turnberry, famously dubbed the Duel in the Sun. Both players went shot for shot over the last two rounds, separating themselves from the rest of the field by 10 strokes. Watson edged out Nicklaus by a single stroke in one of the most dramatic finishes golf has ever seen. Despite the fierce competition, their rivalry was built on deep mutual respect. Nicklaus once said of Watson, "He's the toughest man I've ever had to beat." And Watson, with humility and grace, always acknowledged that beating Nicklaus meant beating the best. Their final hug at the 1982 U.S. Open symbolized something larger, a rivalry that elevated both men to their absolute best. Ben Hogan versus Sam Snead, Silent Wars. Back in the 1940s and 1950s, Ben Hogan and Sam Snead represented the game's twin poles of grit and grace. Hogan, reserved and workmanlike, rebuilt his swing and life after a near-fatal car crash. Snead, loose-limbed and fluid, was natural. They rarely spoke of their rivalry, but their silence amplified it. The 1954 Masters saw Snead outlast Hogan in an 18-hole playoff, one of the sport's quietest, coldest battles. Snead had beauty. Hogan had the blueprint. Their rivalry was understated but foundational to golf's golden age. They never embraced, never exchanged barbs, just icy nods and fairway glares. In locker rooms, they kept to themselves, civil but never close. Hogan's swing was a machine, Snead's a melody, and fans picked sides. Together, they made golf not just competitive, but cinematic. Faldo versus Norman, collapse and conquest. In the 1990s, golf crossed oceans. Nick Faldo of England, methodical and emotionless, stood in stark contrast to Australia's Greg Norman, passionate, powerful, and prone to heartbreak. At the 1996 Masters, Norman held a 6-shot lead entering the final round. The tournament was his, but Faldo hunted calmly, hole by hole. Norman crumbled. Faldo surged. The result, a 5-stroke victory for Faldo and one of golf's most painful collapses. Norman never fully recovered. Faldo cemented himself as golf's cold-blooded tactician. Their rivalry was less about direct hatred and more about what each represented. Emotion versus execution. Norman's pain became a symbol. Faldo's calm, a curse. The green jacket was meant for Norman. Faldo wore it like armor. They barely made eye contact at the trophy ceremony. One man fell apart. The other never blinked. Tiger Woods versus Phil Mickelson. Modern fire. No rivalry defined the 2000s more than Tiger Woods versus Phil Mickelson. Tiger was robotic brilliance. Phil was improvisational flair. Tiger chased perfection. Phil chased shots no one else dared. Tiger dominated early. He won majors in bunches. Mickelson was the best without one. When Phil finally broke through at the 2004 Masters, the rivalry matured. They clashed in Ryder Cups, majors, FedEx Cups. In 2012 at Pebble Beach, they dueled spectacularly. Tiger won. Then Phil answered days later at Riviera. Though rooted in tension, time softened the edges. Their $9 million match in 2018 revealed mutual respect and commercial chemistry. But in their primes, every tee shot echoed their contrasting destinies. Crowds screamed louder when Tiger played, but cheered harder when Phil fought back. Tiger's glare was surgical. Phil's grin was daring. Every leaderboard became a battleground. Every final round, a referendum. They didn't just play golf. They split the sport in two. Tiger versus the ghost of Jack. Tiger Woods never truly faced Jack Nicklaus. Yet his entire career was haunted by him. The goal? 18 majors. Jack's record. Tiger raced toward it, capturing 14 by 2008. Then injuries, scandal, and time intervened. That looming chase transformed into a psychological rivalry. Would Tiger catch Jack? Could he? With his 2019 Masters win, Tiger notched his 15th. Still 3 short. The ghost lingers. Nicklaus watched from the gallery, always gracious, but protective of his throne. Tiger's charge was mythic. The collapse, Shakespearean. Each swing now is not just for a title, but for legacy. 18 remains the mountain. And Jack? Its keeper. Rory McIlroy, the man in between eras. Rory McIlroy arrived post-Tiger. Gifted, charming, thoughtful. He seemed destined to be the next great icon. 4 majors by 2014. Then a drought. Rory's greatest rival? Perhaps expectations. Perhaps live golf. Unlike the rivalries before him, Rory's battle became political. As Saudi-backed live poached players, Rory stood firm for tradition. He clashed with former allies, even Tiger at times, on strategy. His battles play out in interviews as much as on course. He also fights himself, striving to complete the career Grand Slam at Augusta. Each year he returns to the Masters. The whispers grow louder. He is the face of golf's transition and its internal war. He's not chasing a player. He's chasing a moment. Every swing at Augusta echoes unfinished dreams. His pressers are battlefields, his words, weapons. Rory is no longer the hare. He's the conscience of the game. John Daly, the wild card rival. While others built careers on consistency, John Daly became legend through chaos. In 1991, Daly wasn't even supposed to play the PGA Championship. As the 9th alternate, he only got in due to withdrawals. Then he won it. With booming drives and mullet flying, Daly became the sport's most unlikely major champion. He didn't fit the mold. He smoked on course, gulped Diet Cokes, wore wild pants. But when he played well, he was electric. His 1995 Open Championship win at St. Andrews cemented him. He wasn't a fluke. He was fire. Daly's rivalry was against the establishment, against etiquette, against himself. He once asked Tiger Woods to grab a beer mid-tournament. Tiger declined. Daly quipped, "If I had your talent, I'd be at the gym too." But he beat Tiger that week. Hungover, chain-smoking, and grinning. He made headlines for parking his RV at Hooters during Masters Week, selling memorabilia. Fans adored him. He turned flaws into folklore. Despite health scares, bladder cancer, knee surgeries, hand injuries, Daly fought back. "I'm like Lazarus," he said. He remains the anti-hero, reminding golf that greatness can be wild, not just refined. SPIETH versus Thomas, KOEPKA versus Evertone. Today, a new batch of rivalry simmers. Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas grew up together. Friends turned competitors. Brooks Koepka plays with a chip on his shoulder, targeting anyone in his path. At the 2019 PGA, Koepka looked invincible. Then Dustin Johnson closed in. Koepka held on, eyes narrowed. Every duel adds to his fire. He's not afraid to speak out against the media, players, even golf's traditions. As live disrupts the ecosystem, rivalries emerge along battle lines. Tradition versus money. Rory versus KOEPKA. SPIETH versus chaos. The stakes are no longer just green jackets. They're about golf's soul. Why rivalries matter. Rivalries elevate golf from sport to saga. They give each putt purpose, each handshake weight. Through them, we remember eras. Palmer's style, Nicklaus's strength. We meet our heroes, flawed, fearless, human. We feel the game's evolution, from decorum to defiance. And players like John Daly show that rivalry can be about spirit as much as statistics. Emotional highlights. Some moments in golf don't just stay on the scorecard. They live forever in the hearts of fans. Like in 1962, when a young Jack Nicklaus walked into Arnold Palmer's backyard at Oakmont and silenced a roaring pro-Arnie crowd, announcing the arrival of a new king. Fast forward to 1996. Greg Norman's collapse at Augusta was hard to watch, but even harder was the quiet empathy of Nick Faldo, who wrapped his arms around Norman on the 18th green, equal parts champion and comforter. In 2004, John Daly, the wild card of the sport, did the unthinkable. He challenged Tiger Woods not just on the course, but in life itself, and somehow, for one shining moment, he won. Then came 2019, and the world watched through tears as Tiger Woods, broken, doubted, and written off, embraced his children on the 18th green of Augusta. It wasn't just a victory, it was redemption. And in 2024, a different kind of curtain closed. John Daly's legendary Hooters tradition ended quietly. No headlines, just the end of an era that reminded golf it didn't always have to take itself so seriously. The game within the game. Golf is often still, but beneath the silence, a storm rages. Rivalries provide motion. They turn competitors into myth. Some, like Nicklaus and Palmer, are written with respect. Others, like Daly versus the norm, are tattooed in rebellion. Every rivalry leaves marks on scoreboards, in memories, and across decades. Some fade, others echo, and some, like John Daly, explode like fireworks. Short, wild, unforgettable. From Nicklaus to McIlroy, from silence to swagger, golf's rivalries prove one truth. On this course, character counts as much as championships. That's golf. That's rivalry. That's legacy. So tell us, which golf rivalry is your all-time favorite? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like this video if the stories gave you goosebumps. And subscribe for more legendary face-offs and untold tales from the world of sports. Because greatness is measured not just by wins, but by who you had to beat to get there.